A British media mogul, owner of Mirror Group newspapers, dies under mysterious circumstances in 1991.
He was either bumped off, or he committed suicide, or it was simply an accident. Maxwell knew that the game was up. He was on board his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, when he died. Then when he went back, he was due to fly back to London that morning.
After his death, it was revealed he had misappropriated hundreds of millions of pounds from his company's pension funds.
He was going to effectively face 3 firing squads. He knew the fraud squad were after him, the Mirror pensioners were after him, and the banks were after him. So if it was an accident, in many respects, it was a very fortuitous accident. I feel that, and I've grappled with this a lot, I feel that possibly the line between suicide and an accident is less clear-cut.
What happened to Robert Maxwell? This is Unsolved True Crime.
Born in Ukraine, June 10, 1923, to a poor Jewish family. Most of his family was killed in the Holocaust during World War II, and they escaped Nazi-occupied Europe and fought with the British Army, earning the Military Cross for bravery.
This place commemorates the communities which were wiped out in the Holocaust. And at the bottom, the shtetl Solotvenim, where I come from, it is no more. It was poor, it was Orthodox, and it was Jewish. They were very poor. We didn't have things that other people had. They had shoes, and they had food, and we didn't. And at the end of the war, I discovered the fate of my parents and my sisters and brothers, relatives and neighbors.
Robert Maxwell founded Pergamon Press in the 1950s, a scientific publishing house. He later bought into the Mirror Group newspapers, UK tabloid giants, in the 1980s. He built a global media empire rivaling Rupert Murdoch for a time. He even styled himself as a powerful international businessman and media tycoon.
Pergamon was Maxwell's brainchild. Despite his lack of education, he'd earned millions by creating one of the world's leading scientific publishers. He used his money to buy publicity, win a Labour seat in the House of Commons, and provide luxury for his 9 children.
You want a little man? You want a little Christmas? Look, this is Christmas.
We both teach them that having money isn't just everything. The privilege of money also imposes duties and limitations.
By 1969, Maxwell's uncontrolled ambition was shuddering towards catastrophe. His bid for the news of the world was defeated by Rupert Murdoch. Employees began to understand the Maxwell style of business.
He didn't really trust anyone, so as the empire grew, more and more he brought his sons Kevin and Ian into the business at the upper echelon. Ian I knew quite well, especially in the early days, and liked a lot. Very charming, very erudite. Kevin I knew much less well, and always found rather frosty and remote. Glenn was always floating in and out of the business, so she would crop up from time to time in various capacities. Often she'd be filling in for him at receptions again as his representative. So we were only really on nodding terms.
He kept saying to me when Ghislaine left Oxford, could I hire her? And I said, Bob, I'm running a newspaper and I don't think Ghislaine wants to be a journalist. It's always said that she was his favourite child.
Robert Maxwell has been widely speculated to have worked with several intelligence agencies.
I wanted to find out who Maxwell really was and how he'd built such an empire. You know, Maxwell was keen to let everyone know he was a decorated war hero. But his life in post-war Berlin is where things got very shady. He runs a very, very lucrative black market operation, buying and selling cigarettes and nylons and all chewing gum, food, everything. He is the heart of taking goods from zone to zone and putting the cash in his pockets. And Maxwell was someone who wants power, who wants influence, who wants wealth, who wants to change the world. He goes across the Russians, declares himself, gets on very well with them, and establishes good connections. He becomes a KGB agent.
Maxwell was a special person. He was received in our highest spheres.
He's both working for British intelligence and Russian intelligence. No loyalties other than to himself.
In our parlance, it was called an useful official relation. So that meant that a foreigner can be useful to us as a person who would have an access to some information and who would willingly or unwillingly share it with us.
At the same time, he presents himself to MI6, and he says that he's established amazing connections with leading scientists all over the world. Unbelievably, what he really wanted was MI6 to finance him to start a publishing company.
It was obvious that he'd been doing odd things for MI6 in Germany already, and he suggested that we should subsidize him to buy a book business. I don't know of any other case.
Robert Maxwell would die on November 5th, 1991. Cause of death ruled as a combination of drowning and a heart attack, but suicide, accident, and murder have all been speculated.
He was either bumped off, or he committed suicide, or it was simply an accident. Maxwell knew that the game was up. He was on board his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, where he died. Then when he went back, he was due to fly back to London that morning.
His mysterious death and financial crimes led to lasting public fascination. After his sudden death in 1991, it was revealed that he had stolen over £400 million from the Mirror Group's employee pension fund to prop up his failing companies. This became one of the largest corporate frauds in British history.
Robert Maxwell's alleged ties to Israeli intelligence are part of a long-standing mix of documented facts, credible testimony, and unverified claims that emerged after his death in 1991.
Curiously, intelligence sources began to speak. Some claimed Maxwell had worked with the Israeli Mossad, perhaps even as an operative. His funeral in Israel was attended by top figures in the Israeli government and intelligence community, a gesture rarely granted to foreign businessmen.
What happened to Robert Maxwell? Was he murdered? What happened to the £400 million?
If you want to support Peace Productions, please subscribe to our Patreon. The link is on the screen. You can find us on YouTube and TikTok.